Welcome to Reshair on ESPN 730. For the next hour, your host, Chris Reshaar, will bring fresh air to your financial needs. Excite, educate, and empower you to make sound financial decisions. Chris is a seasoned licensed mortgage consultant with Movement Mortgage, equal housing lender, originator license number 117266. Now, here's your host, Chris Reshaar.
Welcome to Reshair Radio. I'm your host, Chris Reshaar, Senior Loan Officer with Movement Mortgage. Movement Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS license number 117266. Got to get those criticals in. And if you are just listening to the intro of the show, the goal is to really excite, educate, and empower Charlotteans to make sound financial decisions. Those financial decisions can relate to homeowners insurance, can relate to buying a home, selling a home, mortgage financing, all kinds of financial questions that you might have. As you listen every Sunday morning to our show, I know there are a lot of repeat offenders. They watch or listen, every week. Others don't, and they catch the show when they can. So it's all good. But if you have any interest in listening to previous shows that we've had on, you can go to reshairradio.com. That's www.reshairradio.com, and it's got previous shows in case you didn't catch all of our show today. So as usual, when we record each week, we bring on special guests, we bring on expert contributors, etc., into the studio to bring hot topics to you related to whatever it is that we're talking about. So what I'd like to first do this morning is just kind of roll out and introduce our guests. We've got Carmen Smith and Bruce Bleiman from Giving Tree Realty. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Hey, Chris, glad to be here.
Awesome. So while we get the show kicked off, Bruce, I would love for you to take a couple of minutes and tell our listeners a little bit about you and your business model. I understand that you've been in business for 40 plus years. You're broker in charge and executive vice president of Giving Tree Realty. Tell us a little bit about your background and Giving Tree Realty, how that came into play.
Yeah, so thanks, Chris. I've been in the real estate industry, many aspects of it, for the better part of over 4 decades. And so from residential remodeling and commercial upfits to residential and commercial construction and land development. And over those years, I've always sold real estate secondary to my passion for sort of building and design. So almost 40 years selling real estate as well. Well, the Great Recession was not good to me, unfortunately. I thought I was smarter than most, and in 2007, I thought I could get through. And unfortunately, I was unable to in 2012. In 2010, my wife and I decided to open up our own shop, our own real estate firm, and it is called Giving Tree Realty.
Quite frankly, Bruce, that was still even a tough time to get a real estate company off the ground. That was from the mortgage perspective. You remember that first-time buyer tax credit where everyone was getting $8,000 to buy a home. That ended in 2010. And really the faucet turned off for a lot of realtors and a lot of mortgage people. How did that work?
Well, it worked because Brandy had been selling bank-owned properties, foreclosed properties, or REOs.
Well, that definitely helps.
Yep. So the foundation of the business transition during that time was basically that. And then it wasn't until 2013 that I actually transitioned full-time into real estate. Well, 2011 and 12, I was winding up my building and development challenges, and I was also running a homeless shelter for veterans. And in 2013, I started to wear the hat as broker in charge at Giving Tree Realty, and we started recruiting. And we're really pleased to say that at this point right now in 2018, we have just under 100 real estate agents working for our firm in Charlotte and in Apex, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Wow, that is impressive. That's really rapid growth. What kinds of things would you say attribute to the growth that you've had?
Well, great question. We are a very different firm, Chris, different in a lot of ways. And so primarily we are built on a foundation of giving back. And so I don't know if any of the listeners have read the book, The Giving Tree by Sheldon Silverstein, but in fact, our business model was created from that children's fable. And at Giving Tree, all of our real estate agents pick a charity that's important to them, something they're passionate about, something that's close and near and dear to their heart per se, And then we require that they get involved in that 501c3 and that charity on a local level. So we want our brokers doing fundraising. We want them sitting on committees, working on special events, and getting integrated into that nonprofit community. And then Giving Tree Realty Corporate, we complete the circle, Chris. So we promise to our agent and we pledge to their chosen charity that on every single home they sell, we make a donation.
Wow, that's really cool.
So in 2018, we represented close to 70 different nonprofits, 501c3s, and we're proud to say we've donated tens of thousands this year to assist those nonprofits as well.
You know, the interesting thing for me, as I listen to you tell your story here, is that I really do feel like when people are investing in a company, they do care today that company is giving back. I mean, there are a lot of companies that make a profit, but it really does mean something to buyers today, to sellers today, to know that, you know what, I'm working with a great company with experienced realtors that they're going to take care of me when I buy or sell my home. But I also really like the fact that they're giving back to the community. And you're telling me that in some cases you're letting all of your agent partners really just pick their favorite charities?
That's exactly right. That's what we want them to do, and we want them to get engaged, as much as possible, because we know as their real estate careers grow over the next 5 years, they'll engage their significant other and their family members in these special nonprofit events. And as they look back, they'll feel really good to know that they've helped a lot of folks in need in our community and perhaps built their own charitable legacy with donations from Giving Tree in excess of $10,000.
Awesome. Do you mind if you take a quick minute and tell us about the event that you held over the holidays and what you do there? Because that seemed like something special that you do in the community. I think it'd be a great time to fit it in.
So thanks, Chris. So we have a separate nonprofit that's a 501c3. It's called Giving Tree Charities. And this year we put on our 5th annual Toys for Our Troops events. Now, not to be confused with Toys for Tots, our event is raising and collecting toys and offering a very special early Christmas to local military families. Initially, the families were vetted based on 5 criteria. So it's kids whose parents have recently been deployed, are presently deployed, have been injured, sadly, tragically, perhaps killed in action, and then financial need. And then last year, we started to partner again with the USO of North Carolina, and so we grew the event to over 550 participants this year.
Wow, that's impressive. Really cool to be a part of that, too, and I was able to work with you and your company in that event. And so really cool stuff that you're doing over at Giving Tree. So I got a couple more questions before we head over to our Director of Happiness. But anyway.
And she is that for sure.
That's right. So tell us, what is your goal here? And you had mentioned to me as we were planning for the show that you want to continue to grow the Giving Tree model. What's your plan there?
Well, what keeps me up late at night and gets me up early in the morning, Chris, is this idea that Giving Tree is training a very unique group of real estate agents, right? Real estate agents that want to raise the bar in our industry by offering a higher level of customer service to their clients, and agents that really believe in this, this higher idea of paying it forward. So, We see growth in the next 5 years to multiple offices throughout North and South Carolina. We'd like to have a presence on a regional basis with expansion to Wilmington, to Charleston, Spartanburg, Greenville, and then in the Charlotte market, we're in Dilworth right now, but our plans are to have another office south towards Ballantyne and perhaps one up in the Davidson or Cornelius area.
Wow, that's great. That must be really exciting to sort of see where you've come from. And like you said, you've been through the recession. It's like, oh man, how are we going to get through this? And now you're just blossoming throughout really the Carolinas. It's awesome.
Yeah, our core values are built on the word charity, and the Y stands for your ultimate fulfillment in life comes from giving. And I firmly believe that in so many ways. And so we're just blessed to be able to help our brokers to achieve their goals. We're blessed to be able to really give our clients our buyers and sellers a much higher level of service, and then also give back to the community at the same time and those in need.
Perfect. And I'm going to save our third question because I want to spend a minute or two talking with Carmen, making sure we get her introduced. Carmen, I know we haven't really had you speak yet, but Bruce calls you the director of happiness. So tell me, what is that like, playing that role at Giving Tree?
Well, that's a fun role to play. We have close to 100 brokers, and they all need a little TLC. They all need someone that they can come to with questions, concerns, pop-ins when they don't really want to, bother Bruce per se. His door is always open. He answers phone calls probably 24/7. And if he doesn't answer a call, he literally is calling them back within the hour. The man never sleeps.
No, I call forward. It's you, Carmen.
Oh, that's what it is. It all makes sense now. But I'm also the manager of our client care specialist team, and they do a lot of inbound, outbound calls, setting up appointments, making sure everybody's taken care of.
You know, it's been interesting for me because I've been doing mortgage for a long time, going on 20 years in Charlotte, and I've spent with a couple of companies 5+ years in-house at a real estate office, full-time on-site every day, all day, right? And just to come to the weekly meetings that we have over at Giving Tree and see how there's a constant focus on getting better and pushing your agents to do sales activities so that they can continue to grow their business. It really is unique about Giving Tree. I think a lot of companies will do a monthly sales meeting or a quarterly meeting or sometimes even just a semi-annual meeting and bring in somebody for 30 minutes.
Oh, don't worry, we have those too.
Right. Well, I know, exactly. but really you are really supporting and training and teaching new agents how to be great agents. You're bringing people in from other careers to help them grow a really successful career in real estate. So it's just really fun for me to see from the outside looking in what some of the things that you're doing. So Bruce, what we're going to do is I'd like you to talk briefly when we get back from our break on how somebody can get started in real estate and talk a little bit about that opportunity. And then after we're done that, we'll roll out our theme that we've prepared for today. So if you're just listening and you're tuning into Reshair Radio here, just know that anything that we talk about, if you've got any questions along the way, you can shoot me a text message. You can call me at 704-277-4463. That's 704-277-4463. And you can find us on reshairradio.com. That's www.reshairradio.com. So we'll be right back. So please stay tuned.
When choosing an insurance agency, you want a company you can trust. We are an independent insurance agency that can protect your personal assets, including your home, your business assets, as well as health and insurance needs. A true one-stop solution provider. We do not work for an insurance company. We work for you. As an independent insurance agency, our duty is to our clients' best interests. It is our responsibility to provide you the best service and the best coverage at the best possible price. You will have the added benefit of working with agents who understand your needs. After visiting our website, we will schedule an exploratory appointment to discuss your specific needs. Please visit our website at www.movementinsurance.com. That's www.movementinsurance.com.
Sports fans know that the key to winning the big game is going in prepared. Right now, houses are selling fast. So if you're in the market for a new home purchase, don't just be prepared, be Movement Mortgage prepared. Charlotte's leading mortgage lender, Chris Reshair at Movement Mortgage will tee you up with a free, fully underwritten, upfront pre-approval. Call Chris today at 704-277-4463. Go into the game prepared with Chris Reshair of Movement Mortgage. Sports fans know that the key to winning the big game is going in prepared. Right now, houses are selling fast. So if you're in the market for a new home purchase, don't just be prepared, be Movement Mortgage prepared. Charlotte's leading mortgage lender, Chris Reshair at Movement Mortgage will tee you up with a free, fully underwritten, upfront pre-approval. Shop for the home of your dreams, already backed by an upfront pre-approval at Movement Mortgage. Call Chris today at 704-277-4463.
Welcome back to Reshair Radio. I am your show host, Chris Reshair, licensed loan officer with Movement Mortgage. Just keep in mind, if you're looking for a mortgage and need to get pre-qualified, I'm the guy to call. We are actually talking here with folks over at Giving Tree Realty. We've got Carmen and Bruce in the studio. We were just talking a little bit about the Giving Tree model, how it works. And Bruce, you've really spent a good bit of time really laying out the foundation of Giving Tree Realty. But you also mentioned that your model is unique, a little bit different than maybe some of the real estate firms that we see around Charlotte. And you really wanted to kind of share with our listeners a little bit about how they can get started in real estate. So tell us how that works if you are in a completely different industry and you want to give real estate a try.
Well, if you are in a complete different industry and as Chris says, you want to give real estate a call, feel free to call me or email me. Should I give that information
You're
now?
welcome to give that information.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
my cell is 704-995-3330. Again, it's 704-995-3330. And the email would be Bruce, B-R-U-C-E, at givingtreerealty.com. Feel free to reach out to me. First and foremost, you have to have a passion for real estate. We talk to a lot of new agents, and we ask them, well, what is your why, right? And many say a lot of different things, but primarily what we hear is people want to get into real estate because, well, Chris, they want to be their own boss, right?
Right.
Or they want no ceiling on the amount of income that they can make.
That's always a good thing.
Right.
But sometimes there's no floor. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
gotta watch out for that.
That's true. Right. Or, we hear from some that they just love real estate, like they're HGT, gurus, and they just can't get enough of it, right? Architecture, real estate, and just the whole deal. And then what I hear that's really in alignment with Giving Tree is the statement, well, I really like to help others, right? The idea of being able to help folks to achieve the American dream of home ownership. So lots of reasons why people get into real estate. If those are one of yours, feel free to call me. You're going to have to take 70 hours of pre-licensing classes first, and it's not easy. It's a broad base of information, and it's tough. But once you do that and you pass the state exam, then you're ready and you're off to the races. At Giving Tree, we like organic growth. We like folks that are coming from other industry that have a passion for real estate and really want to grow their career. So we have the tools and the systems and the training.
Amazing. You really have amazing systems over there.
Yeah,
You really do.
Yeah, thanks. Well, we worked hard on it, and it took quite a few years. I mean, from 2010 to 2013, we weren't recruiting. We were just building our foundational pillars. And I think we've done a good job, and we continue to add to it. But we've got systems, we've got coaching, one-on-one coaching. Our brand new brokers get a mentor to help them with their first 3 transactions, right? And then they've got all kinds of training programs that are available to them. I mean, monthly we have a calendar, and it's jam-packed with really good stuff that they can participate in.
Yeah, basically every week we've got something going on that's for training and learning and growing your business.
No, and I've seen it. It's been pretty impressive. So really, I just wanted to reiterate, if you're out there, you're listening, we normally talk about different topics, but I think Bruce brings something special to the show today, and that is, with the Giving Tree model, and if there's anyone out there that really just is feeling undervalued in their career and want a new opportunity, it may be hard the first year, right? It may take some time to get there, but so many people have really developed and blossomed that I've seen just in the short time that I've been working with you. It's great to see. So, well, cool. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit here. We did prepare just a theme to talk about with our audience today. We're really going to be talking about winning the bid in a competitive market. But before we get into that, I would like your perspective, the two of you, in terms of what do you see going on in the real estate market in the Charlotte metro area?
It's a crazy, robust market. It's like none I don't think we've ever seen before, Chris. And as interest rates begin to tick up a bit, you're going to see more folks get off the fence, particularly buyers, to move forward. At Giving Tree, we have a database of over 20,000. That's right, 20,000 active buyers presently searching for homes. So the challenge...
That's a huge number.
Yeah.
Are there 20,000 houses on the market?
That's the
challenge.
problem.
Right.
Actually, I think it may be 21 now.
Okay. And so the challenge is that there's just literally thousands of more buyers than there are properties for sale. There's what we call in the industry a shortage, a shortage of inventory. So it's really, really important that buyers align themselves with really good buyer agents that understand this and know how to help them to win the bid.
Absolutely. And it's really just really making sure you have a group of support people, because I will tell you here, even on the lending side, people need to get pre-approved up front. They need to have their documentation ready. They need to be further along in that process today, because when they find a house, what's going to happen?
Yeah, you definitely need a team environment.
That's right. It's a team environment.
One person can't do it all.
Absolutely. So this really is there anything else you want to share about the Charlotte market that would be interesting for our listeners before we move on?
Well, Charlotte is second or third, last I read, as the second or third relocation city in the U.S. Last numbers I saw, there was over 50,000 new folks moving to Charlotte on an annual basis. I mean, hence we look around and see all the apartment complexes. Some of them,
you got to put people somewhere, right?
Got to put them somewhere. So exactly right. So we've seen tremendous growth. We're going to continue to see that for a lot of reasons. I mean, the Queen City is a great place to be, right?
I saw recently too, I don't know if you've seen it, but I saw an article that talked about Charlotte being the number one place for millennials to live.
Wow.
Which
I saw that as well.
Yeah, and right now that is the largest sector of future buyers. If we look into the next 7 years, that sector will continue to grow and grow and grow because of the baby boom population in the 80s. From 81 up for 9 years, there were more kids born each and every year. So we're going to continue to see that be a trend in our marketplace too.
Yeah, I also read that the millennial group will be larger than the baby boomers when it's all said and done. And they're at that moment now where they're wanting to, buy their first home.
Yep.
And
they're buying later.
Yes.
But in many cases, they're buying more because they're buying later. They're further in their careers. They have money down. They're smart. So it's very interesting to see what's going on in our marketplace. So, all right. Well, so let's roll out the basic theme for the day, and that's winning the bid in a competitive marketplace. And what I mean by that, for those of you who are just tuning in, we are talking about when someone goes to purchase a home, the house perhaps is for sale for a certain price, because there is a shortage of homes and there are a larger number of buyers. In order to actually be selected to really purchase that home from the selling side, you've got to use strategy. You've got to use strategy, and a lot of those strategies comes from working with the team at GivingTree and making sure you've got agents that know how to get you there. So we're going to really kind of start on number one, which is, what do you say number one is? Let's go to you, Carmen, if you want to read number one for us.
Stop and drop everything to see a home that meets your criteria.
So what does that mean?
That would mean stop and drop everything, Chris, to see a home that meets your criteria.
So if you're thinking about buying a home, I think what it really means is,
if you see something that you like, do not wait.
You can't wait, right? It used to be, well, why don't we schedule? I'll be off Sunday afternoon.
Sunday, it's gone.
Right. The real concern therefore, or if you're just really tuning in or listening to our show here, is the issue is if the house went on the market at Friday at 12 o'clock.
By Saturday at 12 o'clock,
it is completely under contract. So if you find that home and a GivingTree realtor shoots you a copy of a listing and that's the perfect neighborhood, that's the street we wanted, the schools we wanted, whatever it might be, you literally have to call your boss, swing on down by his desk, her desk, and say, I'm sorry, but I need to take 2 hours of personal time right now. There's the perfect house. We need to go see it right now. So really, the buyer today has to be completely prepared to drop everything and see a home that meets their criteria.
And so with our team environment at GivingTree Realty, our clients have the opportunity to see that home when they need to. So if the
what do you mean by that?
So I mean that our agents all have backup. We all work as a large team to assist one another. So we're certain that the buyers will get the opportunity to see that house.
So if I have an agent and they're busy, so I could call up the office and you've got someone waiting there that could just show me the house if I needed to.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely right. But your agent will likely help facilitate it.
Okay, that's how that works. Perfect. So they're just going to call their agent and say, what can we do to get over the house? And they'll help arrange that.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, so number two, Bruce, you want to tell us what number two is?
Well, you've got to be pre-approved and really pre-qualified. At the end of the day, you want to know that your mortgage loan is in place and it's going to close. Then you're ready to really go shopping.
Right. So really you can shop for a home if you want, but the challenge for today's buyer is they find a house that they like. The agent spends time and energy weekends because a lot of times because they're going fast, they have to show you homes more frequently and more of the homes because they go fast. And if you aren't ready to pull the trigger and have been pre-qualified, which is step number 2, which then moves into a pre-approval, really you need to be pre-approved. And I'm going to share with you, our listeners, what that difference is. Hopefully we can get some of it in here before our next break. But ultimately a pre-qualification is a loan officer such as myself at Team Reshatar would get your information over the phone or themortgagegenius.com. You apply online, whatever it might be. We get your information, we do check your credit, and we basically run math based on what you've provided us either on the web or over the phone. That's pre-qualification. However, it doesn't mean we've verified anything. We haven't seen tax returns. We haven't seen commission pay stubs. We haven't seen that documentation. So today's seller is really looking for you as the potential buyer to go through underwriting, to have your documents reviewed, so that way when there could be 4 or 5 people putting a bid in to get that house, we at Giving Tree here, everyone here in the room, including us and Movement Mortgage, want to see your offer float to the top of the pile. And one of the easiest ways that you can do it is actually get your paperwork in, get your loan underwritten and approved. So many companies around town will do a free pre-approval for you. Not all companies will. Some companies don't do the pre-approval, but the good ones do because they understand the value of helping you get your offer to the top of the pile. So get pre-approved versus being pre-qualified. So what we're going to do here is take a quick break. If there's anything that you hear throughout our show, remember you can give us a call. You can actually shoot out to Reshair Radio, get more information on the show, listen back to it later on. But my number is 704-277-4463. That's 704-277-4463. You can even say, I need Carmen and I need Bruce. I need a realtor. You can just text me and I'll make sure that
Yes, please make sure you do that.
Yes.
That's 704-277.
There you go. She's on it. But we want to make sure that we connect you with the resources here in our studio that support Reshair Radio. So we're going to take a quick break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey, Chris Reshatar here from Reshair Radio with Movement Mortgage. Are you still sitting on a high interest rate mortgage loan? Are you thinking about consolidating, paying off some of those credit card debts, or maybe doing some home improvement? Now's the time to call because interest rates are still at a 40-year low. My number is 704-277-4463. That's 704-277-4463. I can also be found at themortgagegenius.com. Movement Mortgage is an equal housing lender and MLS license number 117266.
Welcome back to Reshair Radio. I'm your show host, Chris Reshatar, licensed loan officer with Movement Mortgage. If you are just tuning in for the very first time, you know on Reshair Radio, the goal is to excite, educate, and empower Charlotte teens to make great or good sound financial decisions. And we do that by bringing in area local experts on the show. We talk about hot topics going on. And right now we've got Bruce and Carmen from Giving Tree Realty. We've been talking quite a bit about real estate, the housing market, the wonderful things that Giving Tree offers a good realtor if you want to get in the industry. But the theme that we're rolling out this morning is really just how to win a bid if you're getting ready to buy a house in a competitive market like Charlotte, because Charlotte is a competitive housing market. We hit make sure you get ready and drop everything if you need to see a house. That was number 1. We hit also get pre-approved instead of just getting qualified over the phone. Go through underwriting. Those were the first 2 things we wanted to make sure we addressed. But number 3 is consider an aggressive due diligence fee. So if you wouldn't mind, why don't you tell our listeners, first of all, how the contract works if they see a house that they want to put an offer on, and then what a due diligence fee is and how this rolls out. So I'll turn the time over to both of you.
So, Chris, about 6 years ago, the North Carolina Real Estate Commission changed the offer to purchase, which is the purchase contract for a new home. And in that contract, there are really sort of 2 deposits. One is called a due diligence fee, and the other is called an earnest money deposit. The due diligence fee is actually once the contract is executed by the buyer and the seller and they've agreed to all terms, that due diligence fee is paid in check form from the buyer directly to the seller. It's really designed to pay the seller a certain amount of money while they take the home off the market, and the buyer has the opportunity to do inspections and really evaluate their purchase going forward. So in the context of winning the bid, the higher the due diligence fee that the buyer is willing to give to the seller, right, the more skin and effect the buyer has in the game, and the more likely the seller wants to accept that offer because they realize that this buyer, if they were to walk away for any reason, would lose, that certain amount of money that the due diligence fee represents.
Right. It shows commitment.
Exactly.
And if something happens, worst case scenario, the seller gets to keep that money and then find another buyer. And there are other buyers, right?
That's right.
That's
Definitely.
why that's what our topic is about, really. So, yeah. So that due diligence fee is one strategy that one of the experienced realtors at Giving Tree will help you if you're thinking about buying a home. Determine what is going to be the appropriate amount that might stand out if that's a strategy that you want to employ, because it's really a group decision, right? It's not the realtor's decision. It's not just the home buyer's decision. Really, you would decide as a group, and determine, hey, what amount makes the most sense.
Well, we're going to give guidance, and
Sure.
And at the end of the day, it's our client's decision, so they can determine what and how much they want to offer in terms of due diligence at any point in time.
Perfect. All right, let's roll to number 4, which is be prepared to pay above the list price. Consider an aggressive closing window. So let's talk about this. It looks like to me this was supposed to be an additional bullet here, Bruce. So let's go to be prepared to pay above the list price. So you're saying, or when we came up with this, is somebody might need to pay more for the house than what it's selling for, right?
Absolutely.
Well, how do you determine how much?
So that's a good question. So it's really important that the buyer's agent pulls the comps and has a good idea of what the true market value of the home they're making an offer on truly is. Because at the end of the day, if you make an offer that is above listing price and the home does not appraise, potentially the buyer could be at risk of not being able to get the financing, and they'd have to come up with the cash.
Yeah, they come up with the difference, which they don't always have.
Right.
I have a buyer right now that I'm working with, and the house went under contract for $120,000 and it appraised for $101,000. Well, that's a $19,000 difference. The buyer is doing a no money down program.
Right.
You think he's going to come up with $19,000 if he can't close? Absolutely not. So we're working on trying to figure out if the seller's willing to work with us on bringing the price down or not. But it might not work out. It's a big difference, right?
Right. And it's really important because if the appraisal's not done during the due diligence period, then in effect the buyer could still be on the hook. At Giving Tree, we have some proprietary documents that we use as addendums to our purchase contracts. And we do this in a way to help our clients to be certain that we have their best interests at heart. And one of them is an addendum that says that if the property does not appraise for the actual contract price, then the seller will reduce the price to the appraised value.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not a lot of agencies are doing that. It's really proactive is what it is. Because we wouldn't maybe be in this case where it's in limbo on the deal I'm working right now if the seller had signed the contract with that knowledge. So interesting. All right. So what I'd like to do is just take a quick second to say, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Reshair Radio. I'm your show host, Chris Reshatar. Back again here for our weekly show. And we've got Bruce and Carmen here from Giving Tree Realty. And we're really just talking about, really 10 strategies to win the bid in a competitive marketplace. So let's go to number 5, which is really consider an aggressive closing window. And when an offer is placed to the seller, the timeline might be important to that seller, right?
It could be important in a number of ways. They may want to close immediately, like right away in a short window, less than 30 days. Or perhaps they want to stay in the home for an additional 15 or 30 days, so maybe close in 60 days because they're waiting on construction to be completed on another home that they're purchasing. So really being adaptable to what's important to the seller is probably the biggest point that I want to bring out with this.
Well, yeah, we could just change the wording there and just say be adaptable, right? When it
Right.
comes to the closing timeline. Because if somebody else has a contingent move, that seller does, then the buyer would want to coordinate and plan around that schedule. Because if you're lucky to get the house, that's the bottom line, right? If you want the house, be accommodating.
Exactly.
Awesome. Pretty simple. Anything else to add to that?
No.
Pretty straightforward. All right. So let's go to number 6. And this is where I'm sure you've seen some examples. I definitely have seen them in my career here in mortgage. But one of the strategies to increase your odds of winning the bid in a competitive housing market for Charlotte is to maybe personalize your offer. So when you submit the offer to purchase contract to the selling party, that you might include some sort of personalized letter, photo, video. What does that kind of look like in your world? You've probably seen it a lot more than me.
So that's when you are submitting an offer to the seller and you want to make your offer stand above just the regular piece of paper that has all the information on it. So you want to put a photo of your family maybe in front of the house, say a little bit about
that's a cool
your
idea.
family. You can do this in video format as well. And it's just something that gives the seller a more personable approach to when they're looking at all the offers and they see, oh, this is just not just the standard everybody else. This has a letter addressed to me from them. It tells about them, how much this home means to them, if it's in the correct school district or if they just love it or whatever the case is, how when they walked in, it just felt like home. So the sellers then, as they're looking over everything, it gets them a little more warmth to
That's
the
right. There's an
situation.
emotional.
Well, some
Component.
sellers some sellers are really attached to their home, right? And they've lived there a long time. They've built memories for decades, and so the idea of knowing who the buyer is, right, and really relating to that buyer and being excited about the fact that that buyer, really wants to purchase this home and build memories, and continue that sort of progression, I think means a lot.
Yeah, really cool. I have a personal experience with it myself. My wife and I were selling our home several years back, and it was a pretty competitive marketplace like it is today. And we had 5 or 6 offers within the first day of our home going on the market. And in fact, the realtor was like, well, let's just go with the first offer. They put in the first offer. I was like, well, let's take a look at all the offers, first of all. And
You didn't hire us, Chris.
Yes, no.
Exactly.
But there were subsequent bids that were higher that we ended up selecting. But the cool part was the buyer had paid attention to our home, and he had noticed that I have 3 boys, and they play baseball, and he had seen, the baseball bedrooms, and he actually collected baseball cards on the side, old antique cards. And so he put in an offer, wrote a letter, and said, we've been through 4 or 5 houses. We've lost them. My family loves your home.
Right.
We actually have a couple of these antique baseball cards that we'd like to give to your children because they're into baseball, and so am I. And it was really cool. So it was a personalized letter. It was above price, and he threw a couple of little token cards in for my boys. And it was hard not to select that offer, right? There were other offers that we could have considered. And they're in the home now. We're still friends with them. My son mows their lawn, so it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, he got a job out of it. But
There you go.
he's very happy about that.
Cool.
But so that's how you personalize an offer. It's really just about you're envisioning yourself in that home when you go to see it. And if you can help that seller see that same vision that you're going to take care of that home, most people want to sell that home that they really have enjoyed and know that somebody's going to buy it and really enjoy it the way that you have.
Did. Yep.
Yeah, that you
Love
did
the
as a
home
seller.
like you did.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the concept behind a personalized offer. The next item, which is really number 7, is work with a realtor who's using an escalation clause. What the heck is an escalation clause? And we really just have a couple of seconds left here. So what I'd like to do is maybe wrap this segment up and then start our very last segment that we have with this as our intro. So again, you've been listening to Reshair Radio. I'm your show host, Chris Reshatar, licensed loan officer with Movement Mortgage. And if there's anything that you've heard that is intriguing to you, please don't hesitate to give us a call. My number is 704-277-4463. That's 704-277-4463. We can help you or the folks at Giving Tree get you out to buy a home here for the new year. And that's it for right now. We've got one more segment, so please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When choosing an insurance agency, you want a company you can trust. We are an independent insurance agency that can protect your personal assets, including your home, your business assets, as well as health and insurance needs. A true one-stop solution provider. We do not work for an insurance company. We work for you. As an independent insurance agency, our duty is to our clients' best interests. It is our responsibility to provide you the best service and the best coverage at the best possible price. You will have the added benefit of working with agents who understand your needs. After visiting our website, we will schedule an exploratory appointment to discuss your specific needs. Please visit our website at www.movementinsurance.com. That's www.movementinsurance.com. When choosing an insurance agency, you want a company you can trust. We are an independent insurance agency that can protect your personal assets, including your home, your business assets, as well as health and insurance needs. A true one-stop solution provider. We do not work for an insurance company. We work for you. As an independent insurance agency, our duty is to our clients' best interests. It is our responsibility to provide you the best service and the best coverage at the best possible price. You will have the added benefit of working with agents who understand your needs. After visiting our website, we will schedule an exploratory appointment to discuss your specific needs. Please visit our website at www.movementinsurance.com. That's www.movementinsurance.com.
Welcome back to Reshair Radio. I'm your show host, Chris Reshatar, licensed loan officer with Movement Mortgage, and your host of Reshair Radio. Each and every week, we have guests on the show. We've got the folks from Giving Tree Realty today talking about how to win, really 10 strategies to win a bid in a competitive marketplace. And we do this really by bringing in experts like the two of you here. We've got Carmen and Bruce in the studio if you've been listening. We've gone through really 6 components. We got 4 more to get through in this last segment. We've talked about all different ways to win a bid if you're buying a home in this tight housing market. So let's jump right in so we get them all done. So Bruce, you shared with me that working with a realtor who understands an escalation clause might be a good strategy to have when you're choosing your realtor and the agency that you select to help you buy a home.
Right. So as another addendum within the Giving Tree Realty sort of arsenal for buyers is
arsenal, good word.
Right. Is this there you go. Is this escalation clause? And the idea behind it is that our buyer will guarantee in writing that they will give the seller X number of dollars more than the highest offer they've received from any other buyer or firm. So it could be $500 more, could be $1,000 more, whatever that might be.
Yeah, well, I think we've all been in situations where we wanted to purchase something. It's like, man, we were off just by a little bit and you just missed it. This really allows them to potentially avoid being in a situation where they've got their dream home in front of them and you lost it over $500 or $1,000 when you would have been happy to pay it to get that house that you really wanted. So it's a smart strategy. It surprises me that I don't see it more often. I know a couple of realtors that use this strategy, but not many that are really employing the escalation clause like they could.
Right, and we train on it with our 100-plus brokers, and at the same time, our brokers explain it explicitly to their buyer clients because it's really important for them to understand that if we don't want them to miss an opportunity and look back and have regrets. So we tell them to put their best foot forward in their first offer and be certain, right, that if they're unable to get that home, they can walk away and feel free and clear that they can move forward and go perhaps find another one.
Yeah, I think people forget that when you really get into real estate, it does start to get personal and emotional, right? You start to have attachments to houses and you start to sort of go through those dreams that you have, right? So it can be a tricky thing. And I think the next item that we're going to talk about is really kind of we can dance around this section because I have to be sensitive. We want to make sure that our listeners understand there's personal dynamics that go into real estate negotiating offers as well. So number 8 is really just understanding that the lender that you're working with that's on your letter, okay, can sometimes change or sway the opinion of the listing agent. realtors are keenly aware of companies that have really good reputations and also companies that may not, right? And if the offers kind of come in around the same price, that could make an impact on the decision of that selling agent. So we're not going to necessarily dive into that too much here on the show today, but I will tell you that the folks at Giving Tree know how and know who you should be considering and certain things to stay away from. And they will typically have that conversation with you in private if there are concerns in that area. Does that make sense? Do you want to dance with me there?
Absolutely, for sure. And in our industry, savvy listing agents, they've had some of these nightmare experiences with lenders unable to close and meet the deadlines. And so the impact can be tremendous if there's a number of folks that are buying and selling and there's this whole downstream effect. So the quality of the lender and the quality of the pre-approval is paramount.
More important in a market like we have here.
For sure.
Well, let's roll to the next one that we can dance around a little bit too, which is really that the same strategy or same situation can happen when you're working with a realtor that may have a strong personality or a reputation for maybe not always being as ethical as they should, and ones that have high standards. And so the community is small, right? I mean, there's a bazillion houses, but in my opinion, like I know a lot of mortgage people all over the city with all different companies because we really kind of are our own community. So is the same with real estate. So working with the folks at Giving Tree, it becomes important to make sure that you're working with reputable agents. Do you have more you want to add to that?
Really important, right? Because within the community, there are some buyer's agents and also some listing agents that folks may not trust. And I encourage you to search out whoever you're doing business with. By all means, go online and check out Giving Tree Realty's reviews on Yelp or Google or Zillow and see for yourself. But one thing for certain, our brokers always put their clients' needs first.
Wow, very good. Perfect. Well, we're actually on item number 10, which is the buyer should be flexible on the seller's needs. The seller's in the driving seat. So why don't you share if there's any other components under that you'd like to share with our listeners, because we've got about 6 minutes left of our show.
So I think that we've touched on this a bit earlier, that being pliable, being in a position where you can either close quickly or perhaps push closing back days or weeks to assist the seller, is a really good strategy and can be extremely helpful in you winning the bid.
How does that relate to perhaps a house that has some repair issues?
So in what context are you asking
the
question, Chris?
I see sometimes that we have buyers that come along and they have this HGTV mindset that this house better look like the final reveal, right, that I just watched all weekend long.
Binge.
And yet you get a home inspection report says the toilet, needs to be tightened down and the sink, needs to be cleaned and whatever it might be, repair issues that might come up on a home inspection. I think that really ties into that the buyer needs to understand there's going to be some flexibilities around purchasing a home. What has been your experience there?
Right. Well, you have to be reasonable, and when you're looking at an inspection report, any inspector on any home will find some things wrong, right? I mean, that's their job. So the question becomes what truly fits into the idea of inspection repairs and what is perhaps more cosmetic. And so a buyer needs to be a little more flexible and understand that sellers perhaps may not want to do cosmetic repairs, but certainly major repairs, foundation issues, plumbing and electric and that kind of thing typically need to be worked out and done, because if you were to walk away as a buyer from that home, they're going to still have those issues with the next buyer down the road. And the sellers listing agents understand that.
And also that can affect their ability to get financing as well, because the lender may be revealed to the lender and you're in a catch-22, you're stuck. So
right.
But you're right. I think today's buyers just really need to understand that there are going to be things wrong with the home. If you can go into that mindset that not every home is perfect. It's just like your car, and once you drive it off the lot, there's going to be a scratch and nick. There's going to be a seat with a little hole. There's things that happen, right? The dash is going to crack and the knob's going to break off. Just things happen. It's the same with houses. It's not going to be perfect when you go to resell that car, and neither is your home. Just work with the seller, understand if there's something critical, major items, your real estate agents over at Giving Tree will absolutely negotiate you through that. Little stuff you have to learn how to let go of. So, Bruce, we've got a few minutes left here of the show. Just wanted to make sure that you had a quick minute to talk about your buyer and seller guarantee, which is some of these things are unique to your agency that you and your wife have really burgeoned into the marketplace.
Yeah, well, thanks, Chris. We want our buyers and our sellers as our clients to be 100% satisfied. We want to celebrate with them when they close on a home and they make a transition in their life, right? So on the buy side, our guarantee to our buyers is very simple. Buy a home from Giving Tree Realty. If you're not 100% satisfied with that home, within 12 months, we'll help you sell that home for free and help you find another house.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I don't hear agencies putting those kinds of guarantees out. And then you mentioned there was one also for the seller. What does that look like?
So, we have different programs, and one is Your Home Sold Guaranteed or We'll Buy It. The primary premise behind that is what we call the real estate catch-22. And so probably close to 68% of all buyers have a home to sell before they can move forward. And the challenge in the real estate catch-22 is they either have to, in some cases, sell their home first and then put stuff in storage or rent an apartment and then be able to be in a position to go buy a home, or perhaps they're able to get pre-approved from a lender like yourself but be in the position that perhaps they're going to have two mortgages at one time, and that could be a financial burdensome situation for them. So in that situation, Giving Tree offers, come buy this home, which is one of our listings, and if it's a move-up home for you, we'll guarantee to sell yours or we'll buy your home.
Wow, really cool. I do this every day, and I work with a lot of real estate firms around the city of Charlotte, and I just don't see this stuff every day. There are some people out there with some creative marketing, but I clearly see that you're trying to be innovative to make sure that your clients that you work with have lots of options and really some add value approaches to the way you do your business. So pretty cool. So what we're going to do is just quickly wrap up the show. Bruce, one more time, how can they get a hold of you? Your cell phone number?
It's 704-995-3330.
One more time.
704-995-3330.
So yes, you've got any real estate needs, whether you're going to sell or buy, then Bruce is your guy. You can give him a call or text him, or you can text me as always like you've done in the past, 704-277-4463. That's 704-277-4463. Thank you to both of you for being on the show. Did you have fun today?
Yes, thanks, Chris.
We'd love to have you back in the future. We'd like to do shows like this and mix it up and bring in great people. So again, you're listening to Reshair Radio. We're on every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on ESPN. We thank our ESPN folks here that take great care of us, and we hope to see you back here next week. Signing off from Reshair Radio. Have a great week.
When choosing an insurance agency, you want a company you can trust. We are an independent insurance agency that can protect your personal assets, including your home, your business assets, as well as health and insurance needs. A true one-stop solution provider. We do not work for an insurance company. We work for you. Our duty is to our clients' best interests. It is our responsibility to provide you the best service and the best coverage at the best possible price. You will have the added benefit of working with agents who understand your needs. After visiting our website, we will schedule an exploratory appointment to discuss your specific needs. Please visit our website at www.movementinsurance.com. That's www.movementinsurance.com.
You've been listening to Reshair with Chris Reshatar. a seasoned licensed mortgage consultant with Movement Mortgage, equal housing lender. Originator license number 117266. Learn more online at themortgagegenius.com. Did you know it has been reported that an estimated 80% of Americans have credit inaccuracies on their credit reports? Most people that have either inaccuracies or existing items that can be negotiated or adjusted do not know what their best score could be until they have found a new home or buying a new car or applying for a credit card. Then it's too late and they have to accept a higher interest rate or lose the opportunity altogether. The time to work on improving your credit score is before you need it. Whether you have a 440, 640, or even a 740 FICO score, there is always room for improvement. The National Credit Care Team is comprised of individuals dedicated to helping the millions of consumers plagued by credit inaccuracies, errors, and fraud. It is our mission to help inform consumers and alleviate the stress of working with creditors and credit bureaus. Together, we can maximize your scores to get the best interest rates possible and save you money. Call now, 303-747-6390. That's 303-747-6390. Or visit us at www.nationalcreditcare.com.